start right on the dot, or
Is that where that's where you want to start?
That's where I want to start.
Okay. It's up to you.
Okay. I want to full.
It's only 5:54. So we'll start at 6 o'clock. I'll do an introduction.
Okay. I put that in.
That's what I'm introducing you from. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Congratulations.
On your work already.
I may pass it.
Lisa, you wouldn't be the first. First on my watch.
Good.
There's a stool. Look at that. Can you sit here?
That's fine. This is a microphone.
Let me just.
Okay, you're going to say something. That's right, of course. It's not quite.
I just
Not
want to
quite
make sure that I can see you through the camera.
Okay. Mary Hall.
You stay put, I can do this from the side.
Okay, I can be seen okay from the front, yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bruce Laverty. I'm the Curator of Architecture here at the Athenaeum, and I'd like to welcome you all to this fine and well-attended program for an evening's treat of the photography of Will Brown. Dr. Beth Hetzel, the Executive Director of the Athenaeum, had a family emergency, so she sends her regrets, but I'm sure that you're going to enjoy the program. Will Brown studied at the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts and the University of Pennsylvania. His photographs were featured in Common Ground, 8 Philadelphia photographers of the 1960s and 70s at the Philadelphia Museum of Art, solo shows at the Fabric Workshop and Museum, and the Laurence Miller Gallery in New York. His works are held in the collections of the Philadelphia Museum of Art, the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts, and the Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library at Yale University, and the Smithsonian Museum of American Art and the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, and in numerous private collections. Please join me in welcoming Will Brown.
Well, of course, thank you all for coming, and especially Ramona, who lended me her computer, which mine wasn't capable of doing what I wanted it to do. And that's a lot of things in my life as well. That's not capable of doing things I want to do. But okay, we moved to Emily is back there somewhere. Emily and I got married about, I'm not sure what years, but in the late 60s, and we got after 6 months living in a house on Wood Street, we moved to, no, we didn't move, we got a van that we made into a camper, and we drove to Guatemala, where we spent the summer working with the University of Pennsylvania archaeological thing. We were not archaeologists, but we just loved the Mayan and the Mexican antiquities, and we worked there as the grunts anyway, that's we came back and we tried to find a place to buy, and we were always interested. I was always interested, especially me. I think Emily also went along with it. Antique old houses and antiques. So we knew we couldn't afford Society Hill, and we weren't sure we wanted to go to Society Hill anyway, because it was sort of elitist, and we weren't quite used to that anyway. So we knew about South Philly, about Queen Village, the old houses that were there, and so we looked around and found a sign on top of this house which we liked. Maybe I can show you a picture. Here's a picture of me, and there's Emily. She hasn't changed a bit. This is a picture of her when we were in Guatemala. And we were looking for, I'd like to have had a colonial house, but there was nothing available. We found this very nice federal house, 1833, which had been not in use for many years. And then there was a sign on the house that said, for sale, and with a phone number. So we called the number, and this man answered, and he said, how come you come around here and never buy this house? Right, well, you know, this is the first time we called you. And then I said, can we look in the house? Can we? And you said, well, it's open in the back. Just go in and look through the house, which we did. And actually, we did that before we called him, but anyway. So I forget what Emily said we paid $4,500 for it. It was I guess 4 or 5 bedrooms and a living room. It was a kitchen in the back and went back to the back street. Anyway, we're talking too much about it. But it was in good condition. It hadn't been vandalized, but there was no heat and no. Am I doing something wrong?
Just a little.
Ah. Okay. Yeah, if you can't hear me, just say I can't hear him, and anyway. I was working at the Art Museum in Conservation Department, and like I said, we like old things and antiques, and we tried to restore the house the best we could. And also, let's see what happened. I'm talking too much here, but you agree? No. So where's my train of thought here? Conservation Department, right? And anyway, so I decided that I didn't decide, but I didn't know much about construction or rebuilding or anything, so I became self-taught. And okay, I know what I was going to say. I was offered a job at Swarthmore College, a non-credit course, in which they were going to give me an exhibition. They wanted me I wanted to teach film, and the director of the art there said there was really a great interest in still photography, and maybe could you teach that? And I said, okay. And after all, the money was really great. It was $25 a session. I had to drive from here. I lived in Philadelphia. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll try to stand closer. I'll stand up too. How about that? Okay? Can you hear better? I'm sorry. So I got a job. They were going to give me an exhibition of photographs at Swarthmore, so I decided to go around the neighborhood with my camera and take photographs. And from that, I had a show at Swarthmore. And Anne Darnacourt, I knew Anne Darnacourt because she was a curator at PMA, and I knew her from that. She and Joe Rischel, maybe you know them, came to the exhibition, and they bought 3 or 4 of my photographs. I was selling them for, I think, $25 a piece, which was a lot of money to me then. It was better, it was cheaper than. Not cheaper, it was more, I was getting more money out of that than teaching anyway. So what's the next picture? Let's try something new. Oh, here it is, man. So we bought, this is the house we bought on Catherine Street, 429 Catherine. This is pretty much the way it looked when we got it, and that's my truck there on the left. And I don't know what else to say. Here's looking out the back window towards Fulton Street. And where's Mr. Roberts here? Where'd he go? I think he took my book and left. But this house later on, I can talk too much about these things, but this house later on was poor black people were renting these houses, and it was later bought by Emily? Bart Blatstein, there we go. And I think it was the first thing he did, the first place that he bought and was trying to, before he went crazy. Well, he was crazy then too. But anyway, that was one of the houses behind us, and let's see what else we got here in the computer.
What year was
This was 70s, 1970 era. What?
What street is that?
What city?
What street in front?
I didn't hear you. Catherine, 429 is the house. It's on 429 Catherine. Is that what you mean? And this is looking on the rear end of Fulton Street. This is like, okay. And this, we started to fix it up, and this didn't happen. And this there was no bathroom, so we put this in. It used, I thought it was quite lovely, actually. It needed plastering. I think we left that sink there. I think people, anyway. And across the street was, of course, Wicoco Playground, which was a favorite for kids to come and break bottles. And a lot of broken glass there. Of course, the Settlement Music School was right there. And here, this is the view from our window, of course, in the snow, winter. And we had trolleys that ran right in front of the house. And they would always, it was like a loop, and it would stop on Catherine Street right in front of our house, and it would block traffic, and all the cars would come behind and it was annoying. But the trolleys were great, wonderful. I just liked the looks of them anyway. And this is one of the houses on the block that when we moved in, you can see the condition of things. Not everything was that bad, but this was a house 2 doors from us. It was a wood frame house that was built back in. I think Blatstein bought this one too. The guy who owned them, he offered, they had 3 of them, 2 in the Fulton Street and in that house, for $10,000 for all 3 of them. And I didn't want to get into the, entrepreneurship. I didn't want to displace the people that were living there. But it was inevitable. It just happened. And if I didn't do it, if somebody else had did it, but I wasn't going to do it. In other words, this is further down the same block that where we lived on Catherine Street, and these 2 houses. The one on the right is owned by Mr. Brown, a black man, and he was a wonderful man. He's a very good gardener. He did those bushes, those topiaries. And the other house to the left is owned by, I can't remember, a carpenter of some sort. And it was later bought by George and Lotus Yu, who was an architect. I know some of you know Lotus and George. And anyway, there's Mr. Brown. He was quite upset when he wanted me to come and photograph him in front of his topiaries. I think you'll notice that the topiaries are big. Maybe, I don't know, doesn't matter. He was quite upset because he wanted to have his, him himself to be most of the picture. But since I wasn't charging, I got what I wanted anyway. nice guy. Now, this is back on Fulton Street in the same block, 400 block. And in the edge, on the left side, there's a little house that we bought at sheriff's sale. It had been vacant, and it was $1,100 we paid for it. And I spent a whole year. What's garden? Oh. Was that too much? No. Anyway, the main house in the picture there was a fire and later torn down, which was kind of a shame, but it was in pretty bad shape. So I spent a year on that house renovating it and fixing all the chimneys and fireplaces, and we had it plastered. And we later sold it to Warren Rohrer, an artist, and his wife, and they had it for several years. Anyway, Fulton Street. Most of these pictures nowadays. This is what some of the houses on Fulton Street looked like, and they later have been renovated or mostly renovated. And this is a lot that was on Fulton Street, and anyway, you have to experience the greatness of the photography. It's just not a matter of wood standing there. These were two wood frame houses that were directly behind us, probably built about 1820 or 30. And I was so enamored with them but I knew that they would be a lot of work, and we didn't have a lot of money to do that kind of thing anyway. Since I spent those $25 that went to Swarthmore pretty quickly. This is on Fitzwater Street, west of Passyunk. That's no longer there, it's torn down. This is Passyunk Avenue, right where Fitzwater Street runs into it. I think Alden Bly, who's over there somewhere, had a lot to do with the renovations of these houses. I'm not going to tell you what I thought of them after he did them, but...
Thank you.
What?
Thank you.
This is one section of those houses. It's a wonder these weren't, vandalized very much, because there were a lot of young kids in the neighborhood. This is also Fitzwater Street, 600 block, 500 block, north side. This is Fitzwater, 500 block again. It was a big, obviously, before we got there, it was an area of wallpaper stores, which were no longer in action. There was one, I think, still working. And this, I don't know how familiar you are with this area of Philadelphia. This is, there's a triangle of which Passyunk and 5th Street come together, and if you keep going north, it hits South Street. Passyunk ends on South Street, and that large brick building in the background is Snellenberg's, the Snellenberg's. Anyway, again, we have Passyunk Avenue. I seem to be fascinated by Passyunk. Nobody was living there, hardly any. I wouldn't say nobody, but a few people. And today I went out, walked around the neighborhood trying to see what happened to some of these places. And this is on Fitzwater Street, just east of Passyunk on the north side. And that's completely gone. It's a lot now. And I put this picture in because I thought the little sign up there in the corner, it says, God is blessing you. What to say? Right now, shop and see. That was on 4th Street near Catherine. This was a lady who and her husband had a hardware store at Fitzwater and 4th Street. And I think her name was it Mullen? Malone, okay. She, lots of plastic flowers there, very nice. And this is also Fitzwater at 5th on the northwest side. And that was there recently, and until a couple of years ago. Pardon? Bainbridge, I'm sorry, you're right. Yeah. But I was fascinated by the little bags, or whatever they are, of paper, and the way the light hit it and the shadows. I kept going back there a lot and photographing that over and over again. I won't bother you with them, with more of them. And this is Catherine Street, just a block from us. This is the 500 block on the north side, almost where it comes into Passyunk. And I don't know what the thing is, was I trying to record the neighborhood? Or I think I was just trying to make interesting photographs. And if I wanted to record it, I would have done it differently. But is that Bill Whitaker?
Yes.
Hi, Bill. Good. I haven't seen you for a while. I want to talk to you about George U. And this is, there were a lot of gas stations there that were abandoned. And this was one at Fitzwater and 5th Street, corner at Fitzwater and 5th. Interesting. Inga Saffron, she's not here, is she? No. We had a conversation on Facebook about it, the abandoned gas stations in Philadelphia. It's just a store that was on 4th Street, south of a street, the block that's below Catherine. I can't remember the name. Queen, that's right. Yeah. And I also found the shoe shops kind of interesting. Shoe shops and barber shops. And the cars, you'll see them later if you're still here by then. This is a button store. As you know, that 4th Street was a big fabric area, and I can imagine just one store specializing in buttons, but I think there were several of them. Notions, what are they called? No. Zelnick? Okay. Okay, whatever you say. Yeah, I just love the way, anyway, you have to. And anything, I take these photographs of ordinary things doing ordinary things. And this is, somebody's put up the newspapers in the windows, I guess, to keep the people from looking in. And it's not one of my best photographs. I'm going to get rid of that one. No, I'm kidding. You can buy it, though. Little hot dog store on, I think it's 4th and Monroe. We have the expert here. And between Cater and Fitzwater was a great Jewish bakery, which we just would go and get our donuts or in the morning. Something like that. And we love cats, of course. And this is on 4th Street, just between Fitzwater and, not Fitzwater, between Fulton and Catherine. And I like this not only the way the light hit the building, but also the sign at the top is so charming and poignant. And that's no longer there, the building. Here's one of the, I think I showed this one already once earlier. Federal wallpaper, that's Fitzwater Street. And then in the back alley in Fulton Street, a lot of black kids lived there, most of them without fathers. And I got to be friendly with them, and I would have a bicycle clinic on Saturday mornings. And they could bring their bikes, and I would help fix them. And then they wanted me to make these go-karts, which was, they found the wheels somewhere, like on a baby carriage, and I had some extra plywood and stuff, so they were great. That's great kids. It was so much fun. And here they are again. The guy standing on the left is Floyd Winston, I believe. These are all Fulton Street kids. This was on Cater Street, north of 5th. Looking back towards, I guess, what would that be, Fitzwater? Something like that. Again, this is Cater, no, Fulton Street. I met these kids walking along South Street, about, I think about 12th and about 14th. I don't know, it was west. And they just stopped and wanted their picture taken. It's so much fun. This is Beinecke Playground. Again, just a couple, I have no idea who they were or are. And this is Fulton Street, next door to us in the back. And the woman on the right is Ruth Beinecke, and her son is in the middle, right behind the... Pardon? Grandson, of course. I'm sorry, her grandson. MC. And I don't know who the boy on the left is, but they're all great kids. Yeah, his mother was Marcia, which I think you'll see in the next picture. There's Marcia in front of the school, Meredith School. Oh, this is on Fitzwater Street. That's again, and that's Floyd on the left. He was there everywhere. Just having fun. These are just some kids I ran into it on, I think that was Fitzwater, between 4th and 5th, 3rd and 4th. You'd see the fountain back there. There's Floyd again with one of his buddies. Ready to grow up. Where we are. These kids are on Christian Street. This is one of the photographs that Ann Darnacourt bought. I never got that story finished, but anyway, from that show at Swarthmore. And later she donated it to the museum, PMA. just another guy we knew. I'm afraid I don't remember their names. I'm embarrassed by that a little bit. This is Wickako Playground again, if I think I'm saying it correctly. Just running into these kids. This kid was coming back from the store with, something his mother wanted him to bring. Stovetop, it's called, because there's a stovetop stuffing inside the bag. Don't know his name. He lived almost next door to us, though, in this house. The kids were just great, and they weren't. I felt we could, be comfortably with them and without any problems. And this is Mr. Frost, who had the little gas station at the coincidence. Is that the word? Coincidence? Between Passyunk and Fifth Avenue, Fifth Street. That building was just recently torn down. He lived on Passyunk Avenue, around between Fitzwater and Catherine, something like that. This is this little spot where he sat. This is also Passyunk Avenue, a little house that this family lived in. I think that's the mother and father, and the daughter and his son, grandson. I'm only guessing, but I think they all lived there. Not in such great shape. The guy on the left here is the one that was in the former picture. This is a picture, one of the earliest pictures I took, which I really thought was not half bad. And I had a 4x5 view camera, 4x5 camera, a view camera, I guess, sure. And the two people are sitting down. I set up my camera, and they were willing to have their picture taken, obviously. And the guy in the doorway, he came out, and then he looked at me, and then he went back in. And so somehow I got him to come back out again, because I thought that really made the photograph look pretty good. And just walked by one day, and these kids were playing in the fountain, in the hydrant. Again, we see Floyd in the foreground on the right, all the way in the first row. Oh, this is a guy named Dorfman, Ben Dorfman. Is that correct? Yeah. And he had this place on Cater Street between 4th and 3rd. And he had a truss shop. You could go in and have if you needed trusses, had a hernia or something, you could knock on the door and he'd be glad to help you out. And also had a junk shop. If you can read the fence, you probably can't read it, but it's mostly plumbing supplies and tools and things like that you could rent from him. He was quite a character. And I always wanted to buy those little mannequins from him, but he didn't want to sell them. And you go inside and there'd be a whole, I wish I'd photographed it, a whole wall of shelves with different sized trusses. And the boxes that obviously been there for 30 or 40 years or something, they're all yellow and crumbled and creased and stuff. Anyway. And this guy is Ernest Davis. Now, Ernest, he adopted us. He came to our house, and I don't know how he first, we just let him come in, and he would be there and do things with us. And I think he called us mommy and dad, I'm not sure, but it would have been not unexpected. So we knew his parents, and we have a place in Maine, and said if it was okay, we took him up to Maine with us for, I know it was 2 weeks or so. And then also, my parents had a boat in Chesapeake. We went down there, took him down there, and I'm sure he was the only black person on that beach where we went. But I don't know how we could. Anyway, we really loved him, and he came back. He got married, went to the Army, came back and visited us, and then he sort of disappeared. And I had a similar talk in New York, where we live now, at an antiquarian bookstore. And I said the story about Ernest, and we don't know what happened to him. And then the person who ran the bookstore, almost immediately, I'm not sure it was the same day or the next day, told us they found out about Ernest. He had died in an automobile accident in Philadelphia when he was probably in his 30s. Emily knows more about this than me. And then we were able to contact his mother, and we had a great reunion between the mother. It was she was very sad. Of course, we all were. He's a really nice kid. And one thing nice about the neighborhood, you could just pick up a car anywhere. And this one, I came out of our house, and there it was, right in front of our house, just like that. We didn't hear anything happening all night or anything, so that's a Buick, by the way. And I didn't really want to do anything with it. There were a lot of abandoned cars on the streets at that time. This is the 70s, and the city wasn't doing much about them. And junk cars then, now I think if you get a junk car and have it scrapped, you get $300 or $400. So, but now, then there was nothing. Almost, you couldn't get anything for them, hardly anything.
The trolley's still active then?
The what?
Are the trolleys still running?
Yeah, when we were there, yeah. It came down 4th Street and then went all the way to, where? The short route would be around Catherine Street, but it was a long route. It went all the way down to Snyder or somewhere like that, and then came back up 5th Street. I had we had this Volkswagen. Emily was out driving, and it's one of those ones that didn't have a gas gauge. And so she ran out of gas, and I was home somehow. So I guess she was able to call, or there weren't cell phones, certainly weren't cell phones then. So I had a thing of gasoline. I went to got the trolley at 5th and Catherine, and as soon as just before I got on the trolley, 3 guys came and mugged me. And I didn't get hurt or anything, but it was not much fun. So here's another little picker-upper you can get. This is on Monroe Street, I believe, about 300 block of Monroe, north side. And of course, what people do with their cars is I find interesting. And I guess he had a dent. He had to make it look better or something. Anyway. This looks like one actually that ran. I don't know where that was. There's people, of course you see this today, people with broken windows putting things in them and stuff. I guess people would have the cars and they would, Saturday night, they would be drinking quite a bit. And in the morning, it would be something like this lying around. I wondered, this is, I think this is Monroe, 300 block again. It might be Fitzwater, I don't know. I have it, all that stuff written down. Zonda here somewhere? Oh, there they are. This was on the cover of the book, the first book I had done. Again, I was just trying to take an interesting photograph most of the time. I thought this was interesting. The dust on the window and the way the shadow is. Another abandoned gas station. This is a Christian and Passyunk, I think. Did somebody say? It'll be over soon, don't worry. This bar is still there. It's at the corner of Catherine and Fitzwater. Catherine and Passyunk. Doesn't look like that. Joel's very excited because it has hot dogs there. The what? Yeah, I was in a few times, and it was an all black bar, and where is this? This is the corner of Catherine and Passyunk, on the northeast side. Thank you, Joel. This is when people had. When we first came, there were. This is like a go-kart. I don't recall a go-kart, but a wagon that it's a huckster of some sort would use. What? Okay. I'll wear my hearing aid next time. There's the building on the left where it came from. That's just Catherine Street again, 500 block. And this is Catherine and just east of the 5th Street. Right now, I went by there today. I tried to go to there today and take photographs of what it looks like now, and my camera was not doing what I wanted it to do. So next time. You know, all these liquor things from trying to get people to drink. This is South Street, and J&W thrift stores. It's gone. It's a big fire, and Longo's Billiards was right above it. South Street. This is Fitzwater. This is a friend of ours who's in the audience tonight. At least he was when I came in. And they that lot there was turned into houses, and they bought one. And I don't know why I am saying that, but that's what no interest to most of you, I'm sure. And this is the end of what street? Hancock and Catherine Street, that's right. That's Hancock, where I'm standing or sitting, whatever I'm doing. And those wonderful buildings I thought were across the street, I don't think any of them exist anymore. So that's the 200 block, isn't it? Of Catherine? 100 block, Catherine, okay. This is Lithgow at Monroe. I love these houses. I was hoping they'd be restored, and they were. There's another view of it. Lithgow at Fitzwater. But I just like the way the light is there on the truck. And things are blanked off. This is Fitzwater and Oriana Street. Oriana is between 3rd and 4th. And again, you know, I was interested in the light, how the light, that building is still there. It's painted, I don't think it's anywhere near as interesting as it was then. And gas station at the corner of Passyunk, 5th, and Catherine. There was like a triangle. Monroe Street again. In the tiling at the bottom it says, what is it, Abe's New Baths. So is that the last picture? No. I was also fascinated with stucco walls. This is not one of my best, but it's not bad. And on Bainbridge Street, there was a place that would you could bring the metals and things to sell. And this was fascinated by the scale there. And Rebus, probably it's amazing these places had sat vacant for so long and were undamaged. This was on 4th Street, south of Catherine on the east side. And this is on Monroe Street. There was a guy, I always thought his name was known as the Captain. But Joel, you have a new name, another name for him, right?
Was it Danny's Garage?
Pardon?
Danny's Garage.
Dan? Danny, okay. He would bring out this used clothing, have a string, and put all the clothing on. Hopefully, I guess people bought it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done it. Bought some of the things.
Saturday morning.
This Saturdays, is that all?
Saturdays, yeah.
Yeah. It was South Street. It says green, and the tiling on the floor, on the street, on the sidewalk, it says Green's cut rate drugs, I think. And Green moved to the corner of South and 5th. And this became an art supply store for a while. Then they moved further west on South Street. And I was also interested in this photograph, just the way that all the graffiti, and then there's the new, I called it new tin that was put up, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. What? You didn't say anything. Okay. Oh, there we are again, same place. Okay, that place, like, repeated some of these places. Hardware store on 4th Street. South of Catherine. And there was a lot of graffiti then with 5th and South. It'll be over soon, don't worry. There, how's that? We're done. Now, okay, I gotta ask some questions.
Right. Thank you very much, Will.
Okay, is that a check for me?
Will? Yeah. It's all yours.
Will's going to answer some questions, but so if you have a question and we call on you, please stand up, say it nice and loud, and I will probably repeat it for the camera, if not for anybody else.
Okay.
So.
Okay, anybody? Betty Kaplan, thank you.
How long were you living on Catherine Street?
Well, we were living in a house, actually, in Catherine. I think we moved about, in there about, when was it? Pardon? 67 to 82.
And why did you move?
Why did I move? Well, we're both artists. Emily's a very good artist, and I'm a photographer, and I did commercial photography, and we both needed studios. And so we did look around Green Village. We always like to call it Southwark, but anyway. Looking for a space, large space. We could never find anything. And finally, we heard about a place up in Fairmount, a nice old, what was originally it was originally a horse, what do you call it?
Stable.
Stable, there we go. And it was 34 feet wide and 90 feet deep, 6,000 square feet, two floors. So we had the space, finally got the space we wanted. And I know it was like, I couldn't believe it was pretty much, raw space, needed everything, roof, plumbing, everything. And we paid $60,000 for it. And it was more money than, we had like 4 or 5 houses before we bought that place. And it totaled all the prices up, it was less than $60,000. And we were like, I never spent so much money in my life on something. And we had to borrow from our parents, and we had some money for some land we sold in Maine. Anyway, did I answer the question?
Something else?
I think that's something. Oh, look at this.
Inga?
Oh, it is here.
That was really great. So I am curious, you moved there at 67. Was the South Street Expressway already proposed?
Oh, yeah.
And did you see a depopulation during the time you lived there, at least in the 70s? Were people leaving because of the expressway proposal?
Let me just repeat the question.
Oh, good.
Was the South Street Expressway already proposed in 1967, and were you seeing a depopulation in the neighborhood that was related to that proposed construction?
Well, the population was pretty well depleted anyway. I mean, there were a lot of people living there in decent shape houses, and then there was a lot of places that were completely open. But yes, we knew about the South Street Expressway, and it was going to be, as you may not know, it was go between Bainbridge Street and South Street, and they would just take down everything in between those two streets and have it go all west to, I don't know where, to Lansdowne, I think it was supposed to go. And there was a lot of protest about it, and finally they decided not to do it, which was really, but then meanwhile, the properties in that space, or near South Street and everything, were deteriorated. People just weren't going to fix them because they were going to be torn down. But then there was the South Street, so-called South Street Renaissance with Julia and Isaiah, Julia Zagars were part of, and other people moved in, a lot of so-called hippie stuff. And the theater, what was it, not the Theater of Living Arts, was it? Mm-hmm. Theater of Living Arts was starting up and became sort of a hippie area, and became younger people moved in, and it was good. It was good. And
Any other questions?
I'm just wondering if any of the original, any of the fabric stores that were there when you were, there's any still in existence?
The question was, are any of the original fabric stores that were down around 4th and Catherine when you were there, are any of them still in existence?
I don't know. They are. The answer is yes. The answer is yes.
But is the button store still there?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay, that's good.
And Asian fabric people have moved in as well,
Oh, good.
and so it's great.
Yeah, it's a great resource for everybody.
So-
Oh,
well,
you
let's
only get
someone
one
else-
question.
Was this a comment or a question?
Well, both.
Okay.
I noticed that the people that you photographed didn't have their street face on. That is, they accepted you as a pal,
Yeah,
and they had no objection. I mean, the children were sweet and delightful, but even the older folks, they had no objection to you photographing them?
no, generally no. And I knew a lot of their parents because they were on Fulton Street. I don't remember their names, but we were always friendly, and they knew they were coming over to our house I could fix their bicycle or make it a go-kart or something like that. So anyway,
Yes, ma'am.
Great travelogue, sorry, it was such a great travelogue going down South Street and seeing the trolley cars. And I remember being about 12 or 13, my mother would pack us up and get on the trolley car and come down to do shopping on South Street. There were open places, present places. It was such a neat thing to watch. Thank you.
Someone else?
just want to say that a project that I may or may not ever finish, but is to do a more extensive photographs, show the photographs of Queen Village in the 70s, and maybe several hundred photographs of that, and might be more interesting. Won't be conclusive, but it might be interesting.
Well, thank you for sharing this with us. However, you folks have an opportunity to purchase Will's book and have him sign it. We've got the book dealer in the back ready for you. And if we sell out tonight, and there's a very good possibility that we will, please leave your name and phone number with Richard at the back desk there. And we will deliver he will deliver signed copies within 5 to 10 days. So go back and I'll escort you to the back and to your throne.
Throne? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. I have to give this computer back to somebody.
Oh, this is ours.
Yeah, this is mine.
That's your, I know, yes. This part is ours.
That's what I care about. I've missed it terribly since Monday. I think you heard my baby.
Thank you so much for helping out. I mean, this was clearly a friendly audience and a knowledgeable, you know, and it was like a block party.
Half of the people there.
Exactly.
We lived on Fitzwaters,
Yeah.
heard it before. And they lived on Catherine between 4th and 5th, and we were all in a big visiting block. And half these people here were. I think that's all that's mine. This isn't mine, is it?
Well, I don't know. It may be. He brought a white charger cord with him. So
Okay,
that's-
well, maybe it's here.
I think, I'm not sure.